Students, we were doing chapter 1 real numbers. Okay, now in our last class what we did, we have identified a terminating or non-terminating decimal expansion without division. Okay, how we did? We have checked the denominator. If the denominator was of the form 2 to the power m into 5 to the power n, we said that it is terminating. And if it was not of the form this, we said it is non-terminating. Now we will do the reverse questions. What we will do? It will be given that whether a fraction is terminating or non-terminating, and we have to find out what is the nature of its denominator. Okay, what we will do? We will do the reverse questions. Terminating and non-terminating would be given, and you will tell the nature of its denominator. Clear, students? This is the reverse questions. Let's do one question. It will be more clear to you. See your question booklet, question 63, what it is saying. What can you say about the prime factorization of denominator of the following numbers? Okay, this is also your NCERT question. What can you say about the prime factorization of the denominator of the following numbers? Okay, you have read the question. Question 63, what it is given? It is given 1.25. Okay, students, what it is given? It is given 1.25. So we know that by seeing 1.25 that it is a terminating decimal expansion. It is not continuing. There is neither a bar. So what we will say that 1.25 is a terminating decimal expansion. Okay, 1.25 is a terminating decimal expansion. Clear, students? Therefore, the one which is a terminating, it will have the factors in the form of 2 to the power m into 5 to the power n. What we will write? Therefore, denominator of 1.25 will be of the form what it will be? 2 to the power m into 5 to the power n. Answer. Is it clear? You have to do it this much only. What was your question? What can you identify about the denominator of this given decimal expansion? So what we are doing? Because it is a terminating decimal expansion, therefore its denominator will be of the form 2 to the power m into 5 to the power n. If you want to check, you can check it. It can be written as 125 upon 100. Prime factorize 100. You will get it in the form of this. Is it clear? So now let's see question number 64. What is your question 64, students? Your question 64 is 2.3 bar. Okay, what is your question 64? 2.3 bar. What is this 2.3 bar? We can write 2.3 bar as 2.3333. The bar indicates that this number is repeating. So what we will write? 2.33 is a non-terminating decimal expansion. Okay, students, we will write that it is a non-terminating decimal expansion. So what will be its denominator? It will not be of the form. Therefore, denominator of the expansion 2.3 bar will not be of the form 2 to the power m into 5 to the power n. Answer. Okay, you have to just tell about the denominator of the given expansions. It is very easy. It's clear to you. You have to just reverse these questions. Okay, so from question 65 to 67, they are same. Okay, what you have to do? You have to determine first whether it is a terminating or non-terminating. Okay, then identify its denominator. So from question 65 to question 67, these are your homework questions. First pause the video and note it down, then try to solve these by your own now only. Students, now see question number 68. Okay, what is your question 68, students? Can 6 to the power n end with digit 0? Can 6 to the power n end with digit 0? Okay, there are many methods to solve in maths, okay? I approach the method that would be easier for you to understand, okay? So here what can we do? What is the question saying that can 6 to the power n end with digit 0? Okay, so for checking this, let's put the different values of n in this. Okay, what is our given number? Our given number is what it is, 6 to the power n. Okay, let us keep n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Let's check it out. When I will put 6 to the power 0, what I will get when n is 0, we will get 6 to the power 0, that means 1. Then when n is equal to 1, what we will get? 6 to the power 1, 6. Then when n is equal to 2, 6 to the power 2, 36. Okay, when n is equal to 3, what we will keep? 6 to the power 3, what we will get? 216. That means it is never ending with 0. Therefore, and it will go so on up to any number you can go. Therefore, 6 to the power n can never end with 0. Answer. Why? Because we have kept many values. It is never ending with 0. Okay, so what we have done, we have kept the values of n. You can keep any. Okay, and check the n number, your unit place will never be 0. Okay, from here onwards, every time your unit place will be 6. It can't be 0. So this is your answer. Okay, note it down, students, in your question booklet. Space is given. Then question number 69 is same as question 68. So it will be your homework. Question 68 will be your homework. Sorry, question 69. Okay, your question 69 is same as question 68. So it will be your homework. Now see question number 70. What is your question 70? That prove that, what you have to prove? Prove that n square minus 1 is always divisible by n square minus 1 is always divisible by 8. Okay, where n is any odd integer. Where n is any odd integer. What you have to do, students, you have to prove that n square minus 1 is always divisible by 8 where n is any odd integer. Clear? So let's start. What your number is given? N square minus 1. Okay, it is saying that prove that n square minus 1 is divisible by 8. Okay, so what we will keep the values of n, it is always odd number. So let n is equal to 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on. Okay, we can keep the values of n and check it out. Let's do when n equal, why we are keeping 1, 3, 5, 7? Because n is any odd integer. So when n is equal to 1, what we will get? N square minus 1 is equal to 1 square minus 1. It is 0. Okay, divisible by 8. Okay, 0 is divisible by all the numbers. Clear students, 0 by 8 is 0. Now what we will do students, now let's put, now when n is equal to 3, when n is 3, n square minus 1 will be equal to 3 square minus 1. That means 9 minus 1, 8. Okay, it is also divisible by 8. Now what we will keep, n is equal to 5. N square minus 1 will be equal to 5 square minus 1. That means 25 minus 1, 24. 8 threes are 24. So it is also divisible by 8. Now 7. When n is equal to 7, n square minus 1 will be equal to 7 square minus 1. 49 minus 1, 48. 6 8s are 48. It is also divisible by 8. Clear? And we will go so on. Therefore, what we can say, n squared minus 1 is always divisible by 8. Hence proved. Is it clear students? What we did? We kept the different values of n since n is an odd integer. And seen what are the values coming and it can go so on. Clear? Pause the video and note it down in the question booklet. The space is given here. Students, let's move on to question 71. What is your question 71 saying? Show that given number is a composite number. What we have discussed in the earlier classes, that a composite number is a number which is divisible by any other number than itself. Okay, that means a number which is not prime is a composite number. It is clear to you what is a composite number? A number that is not prime. Okay, like 4, like 14, okay, 20. These all are composites number because they are not prime. They come in any other table also. So what is your given number? Show that the given number is a composite number. How it is given? See. It is given like this. Okay, see students how the number is given. It is given in this form. So how you will solve? You have to show that the given number is a composite number. So what we will do? First we will write the given number is. What is your given number? 5 into 11 into 13 plus 13. If I say how many terms are there in this number? There are 2 terms. This is 1 term and this is 1 term. Why this is the same term? Because they are in multiplication. Is it clear students? If I have written 8 plus 6 and I write 8 as 4 into 2 plus 6, then this is the single number now. This is the same 1 digit. Okay, this is not 1 digit. This is a 1 term. The numbers which are in multiplication make up a 1 term. Is it clear to you? This is a 1 term. So what we will do? See here, this is a 1 term and this is 1 term. Is there anything common in both of them? Yes, 13 is common. So we will write 13 outside. Okay, then what if we have taken 13 in common? What is left here? 5 into 11 plus what is left here? 1. What we have done from the 2 terms, we have taken 13 as common. Then what is left here? 5 into 11 and here 1 is left. So what it can be written as? 55 plus 1. That means 13 into 56. Now 56 is a composite number. You know that 56 comes in the table of 2, Okay, 7, 8 and so on. So it is a composite number. What we can say? Composite number when multiplied by any number, it gives a composite number. It gives a composite number. Okay, therefore 5 into 11 into 13 plus 13 is a composite number. Why? You will say, ma'am, 13 is a prime number. Yes, 13 is prime. But this prime number is multiplied by a composite number. So what? Let's see the example. If it is 2, if we will multiply it by a composite number, say 14, what will it become? 28. Again, 28 is a composite number. That means whenever a composite number is multiplied by any number, the result obtained will be a composite number. Is it clear? What was our question? A number was given. First we identified how many terms are there. This is termed as one term. Okay, because they are in multiplication and this is your one term. From these both, what is common? 13 is common, we have taken out. Now what is left here? This much, and here only 1 is left. Now 5 into 11, 55 plus 1, 56. 56 is a composite number. Now composite number multiplied to any number gives a composite number. Therefore the given number is a composite number. Okay. These are some different questions which we have to do in this chapter. Clear, students? Now note it down in the space given here. This was your question 71. After question 71, students, your question number 72. It is same as question 71. Okay, in that also you have to prove that the given number is a composite number. This is same as question 71. So it will be your homework. Okay, you have to make it by your own. I will check your answers in the live class. And if you have any doubt, we will discuss it. Clear? And from the next class, we will start your last topic, which is applications of Euclid's division algorithm. Okay, after this class, we will start a new topic and that will be the last topic of this chapter, applications of Euclid's division algorithm. Clear, students? So, from question 65 to 67, question 69 and 72, these all are your homework questions. I will check your answers in the live class.